Good afternoon, everyone. So welcome to our first session on foundations of business finance. If you open your Canvas and in the home tab here, you'll find here the syllabus for the subject. So you can access this via pop-out. So let me open that. And let's have a brief discussion of what to expect in this subject. May I know, class, if all of you understand Filipino, because I might sometimes be explaining things for clarity in Filipino. But if we have classmates here who do not understand Filipino, then I will have to express myself in 100% English. Anyone? Okay, so maybe I could maybe I'll just ask everyone. So kindly chat here yes or no if yes, if it's okay for me to sometimes, only sometimes, explain in Filipino, or no if not, because you can't understand Filipino. We would like to, of course, respect those who may not be Filipinos, maybe because we have had some foreigner students. So I'm very conscious of that. Okay. All right. So I think everybody understands Filipino. Okay. Only sometimes. Sometimes I might be explaining things in the vernacular. Okay. So let's now take a look at the subject itself. So what's a general course description? This is a foundational course, so it means this is more of introductory course to finance. You have another subject later on, which we call FMD FINA. It's more of financial management. So for this one, we will cover more on basic theories of investment mathematics, and as they apply to banking for business transactions. Okay, you'll be introduced here to the rudiments of the mathematics of finance. Okay, so we'll be talking about interests, annuities, loan payments, financial statements, and interpretation of financial statements. So that will be the coverage of this subject. So you'll have quizzes on these topics, and then usually the finals is departmental. So it will be the same for all sections, for all students taking FD and BUS F. So this is designed for the course description. It's geared towards the understanding of investment mathematics and fundamental concepts of financial management. So there are only two subjects that you will have under finance. Of course, the majority of your subjects will be from marketing itself. However, I think we should not downplay the relevance or importance of finance, because in real life, okay, whether you're a marketing student or an operations or a business management student, finance has its role. Okay, every individual, of course, will have an encounter with the use of money. So whenever you use money, whether it be your baon, whatever the fund your parents provide you, or if you're in a scholarship, the stipend that you receive, or later on, or maybe you have your own small business, you have your own entrepreneurial endeavor, then money will always be a concern. So whether you're receiving money from your parents, of course, the main issue will always be how will you let's say, make full use or optimize the use of the limited resources that you're given. I don't think anybody here is even if you're the son of Bill Gates or Elon Musk, okay, I don't think, even if you have them as your parents, I don't think these people will give you an infinite flow of cash. Okay, so always the issue is the limitedness of resources, the limitedness of cash. So how do you now make sure that you're able to meet all your needs, and also a bit of your wants, and at the same time become still financially okay? All right. So that's the main objective of this course, is for us to understand the concept of interest, the concept of time value of money. Okay, later on, we'll understand that you would prefer 1 million today as compared to 1 million after 1 year. Of course, you can, if you get 1 million now, you can put it in an investment so that after 1 year, it will be more than 1 million. Okay, so that's a concept of time value of money, which we're going to look into in this subject. Also, we're going to look at the fundamentals of financial statements. Okay, and then we're going to analyze the financial performance. Of course, you'll have other subjects like accounting. All business students have accounting as their subject, where you will go into the preparation of financial statements. Here, we will be assuming that we have some knowledge of financial statements, and then the objective here is for us to understand, appreciate what the financial statements tell us. Okay, the students will learn to analyze business performance, as I mentioned a while ago, and recommend possible courses of action with the objective of maximizing shareholder value. Okay, I'm sorry about this. I failed to change this. This is not fully online, and I missed out on modifying the academic year. So this is hybrid. We have every Wednesday we will have face-to-face, and every Saturday we have online. All right. So let me go further. Okay, we have this ELGA. In this course, we would like to train students to become critical and creative thinkers. So these are the learning objectives and service-driven citizens. Okay, for the final course output, we will have exams and also a paper at the end of the course. So we'll have problem sets, quizzes, and during classes, face-to-face classes, we'll have group activities, group exercises. All right, so what are the lessons that we're going to focus on in this subject? So you know the equivalents of the grades, 97 to 100, that's 4.0, and below 70, that's a repeat. I don't expect any one of you to be planning to getting a grade below 70. Pretty sure most of you, if not all of you, will attempt to get the highest grade. Okay, but of course, it will really also be dependent on how you perform in this class. Okay, so for the first week, we have orientation. We discussed the syllabus, setting of expectations, okay, and Canvas. I'm sure in your other subjects you have discussed Canvas. Okay, and then the first topic will be simple interest and simple discount. Okay, again, my apologies. This should be more hybrid because we're going to meet also face-to-face. So what are the topics under this one? We're going to discuss ordinary interest, then the difference between the actual time and approximate time. Okay, and then second week, we're going to discuss compound interest. It's different from simple interest. So it's very important for us to understand the difference between simple interest and compound interest. And then after that, we're going to look at effective interest rates. Okay, and then we're going to compare the difference between simple interest and simple discount. Okay, and then of course a review of the compound interest, and then after that we'll have our first quiz. Usually the quizzes will be face-to-face. Okay, and there will be sometimes, but that will be very rare, that we will have our quiz online. If ever we will have that, you will be required to open your cameras. Okay, so that will be a requirement. By the fourth or the fifth week, we will now go into ordinary annuity. I'll explain what an annuity is as compared to a single cash flow. Okay, then we will also look at the different ways to value what an ordinary annuity is. Okay, then I think apologies. I think I uploaded that's why I'm surprised why it's not updated. So I'll just upload another syllabus. I'm sorry about this because this one is not for us. Okay. Before, when it was fully online, there was what we call IL or independent learning. But in our case now, I don't think there's independent learning. All right, then we'll be going into introduction to financial management. Okay, financial management, financial statements and reports. Okay, so that will cover the last weeks. All right. Okay, so in a nutshell, that will be our lesson for this term, and you'll have here some references for your perusal, and you'll have also some movies that you will have to watch. For example, The Wolf of Wall Street and also The Big Short. Okay, one is from Netflix, another one is from Amazon Prime. I'm not sure if The Big Short can be seen in YouTube, but let's see. The Wall Street or The Rogue Trader, I think, is available in YouTube. Okay, then although there's a prescribed textbook here, we're not going to. you're not required to purchase that book. So we will just provide you with. Of course, you can refer to other references because this topic is quite generic. Interest computation, etc. Time value of money. Okay, there are certain references here that you can refer to. Okay, so any questions so far, class? Is the discussion of the syllabus clear to you? Okay, of course, I did not go through it line by line. I hold that you're responsible enough to look at it, read it for yourself, and take a look at the items there. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me or to chat with me in maybe in Messenger or whatever venue, whatever social media. Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, so let's now go to our. Okay, as I said, the first lesson will be more on. The first lesson will be on simple interest. Okay, so this is simple interest and simple discount for weeks 1 to 2. Okay, so let me flash the PowerPoint slides. I'm going to post these PowerPoint slides in Canvas at the end of the subject or by tomorrow. Okay, so let me open the PowerPoint. Okay, so this is our module 1. We're going to learn what simple interest is. So before I flash the first slide, the second slide, may I ask the class, who among you, what do you think is interest? What do you understand by interest? What's your understanding of the word interest? Anyone? You may unmute yourself or you may chat in the chat box. What do you think is interest? I'm sure by this time you have heard of this term. Okay, so we have, yes, Terence, would you like to share or would you like to unmute yourself and tell us?
Sir, can you hear me po?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sir, like to me, interest po, it's like this concept where when you borrow or invest in something po, over time that money will grow po. So
Okay.
the one who you borrowed from or invested to, they'll either give it back to you or you have to pay them back, but with a bigger amount po, sir.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
po.
Thank you. Thank you, Terence. So you mentioned something about when you invest, right? When you invest or
Yes po.
when you
Borrow. Borrow.
borrow. Okay, these are opposite transactions, right? And I saw here also a comment. Let me just recognize also the comment of let's see. Yeah, Amanda, thank you. The money you earn when lending someone money. Yeah, these are correct. So Terence sabi niya, when you invest something or when you borrow something, Tapos sabi naman ni Amanda, the money that you earn when you invest or lend. So invest or lend. Okay? So unless you're lending to a family member or to a close friend and you do not expect something in return, for example, you lend that person, let's say 100,000 pesos or 1 million pesos, and out of your own goodwill, you tell that person to pay you after 1 year and you don't expect anything in return. So these are more extraordinary transactions. But usually when you put your money somewhere or when you lend your money, you expect something in return, right? And that money that you expect to be added to the amount that you lent or invested, let's say you invested 1 million. 1 million. In the real world, okay, when you invest 1 million, you expect something in return, right? Why is that so? Okay, asan na yung color natin dito? Sorry, Adro. Okay, let me use the red ink. So when you invest 1 million, you expect something. Let's say you invest it for 1 year. Okay, you'll be expecting that after 1 year, you'll get something. Okay, you'll get something in addition to the 1 million that you put in. And that something that's added to the 1 million is called the interest, right? It's the interest of the money that you put in. Okay, or corollarily, if you borrow money, okay, whether from a bank, you're using money as a loan for maybe buying a car, buying a cell phone, buying an object, buying a house, then that financial institution, that bank or that entity that lends you money, of course, they will not just expect also 1 million after 1 year. Okay, they would even require that every month you put in some interest payments. Okay, that's what we mean by interest. So it's money on top of the money that you either borrowed or that you invested. Okay, so that's what you mean by interest. I'm sure you understand that. I'm sure that even if you put your money in the bank, okay, you put your money in the bank, although that might not be a good thing, because we'll learn later on that, let's say, I'm not so sure about the prevailing rates now. Let's just assume that the interest rate, okay, where's my, okay. Let's say that the interest rate is, 1%, okay? 1%. So you put your money, your 1 million in a bank, and although this is high, I think this is high. I think the prevailing rate is less than 1%. So you'll earn 1% out of that. So that's 10,000. However, assuming that this is the gross rate, the government, si Big Brother, makikishare pa dyan sa interest mo. So ang final tax dyan is 20%. So what you'll be getting is only 0.8%. Kasi makikishare si government dun sa 1% mo. Babawasan nila ng 20% yan. So ang makukuha mo na lang is not 1% but 0.8%. So the interest that should have accrued to you, which is 10,000, mababawasan pa yan. No? Magiging 8,000 na lang yan. No? So this is what you will get from your 1 million investment, assuming that the rate of return is 1%. Okay, so you're happy, no? Kasi, yung 1 million ko, naging 1 million 8,000. No? So, bad news, good news, bad news. Well, that's actually, finance will tell you that's bad news. Bakit? Kasi assuming that the inflation rate is 5% now. Nawawala yung ano ko, yung... So, what's happening? Okay. Okay. So, you're earning money at 5%, the inflation rate is 5%. O, di ba? Your money is losing 5% every year, but it's earning 1% every year. Di ba? So, may net deficit ka ng 4%. So, parang linagay mo lang yung pera mo sa isang instrument na babayaran ka ng 1% extra, pero yung value ng pera mo nawawala ng 5%. So, it doesn't make sense. No? So, finance teaches you that you have to be astute with how you manage your finance. Okay, so this is the good thing about finance kasi napaka-practical niya. No? Hindi siya isang computation lang ng computation. Of course, there will be computation. Kasi kailangan natin malaman kung magkano yung interest natin, di ba? So, magkano yung makukuha natin vis-a-vis magkano yung nape-penalize tayo because of the depreciation of the value of money. So this is one thing that's really very good with finance. And whether you're a marketing student or advertising student, you can't escape the reality that you live in a world where finance is really an issue. So while at the same time you're learning the ropes on advertising or marketing, you have to learn the fundamentals of finance. Okay, so I hope I've dissuaded you from thinking of having a mindset that hindi ko naman gagamitin yung finance eh. Sa field ko, sa marketing ko. Oh, nothing can be further from the truth, no? If you go up the corporate ladder someday, magiging marketing manager ka. If you're a marketing manager or a CMO, yung Chief Marketing Officer, that's the highest marketing level as far as marketing is concerned. Hindi pwedeng hindi yung pag-usapan ng pera. Kasi ang marketing, kailangan mag-invest kayo dyan. Kaya whatever, promotions, no? If you're going to use certain promotional campaigns, hindi naman pwedeng libre yan. Whether you advertise sa isang social media, sa Facebook, sa YouTube, anywhere, sa TV, sa radio, kailangan ng ano dyan. What do you need? When you advertise, when you do promotions, kailangan nyo ng pera dyan. You'll need money, okay? And so, marketing will involve the use of finances. So I hope to dissuade you from this prevailing mindset ng mga marketing students, because I've met many marketing students and they would say, kaya nga kami nag-marketing kasi ayaw namin ng pera, ayaw namin pag-usapan ng quantitative. No? So while you're taking marketing, while you're taking finance, dadalwa lang naman yung finance subject nyo, i-own this as something that will be practical and something that will be useful to you. I'm sure hindi nyo lang naman gino-goal, no? I'm sure hindi nyo lang naman tina-target na maging marketing staff lang. Kaya nga kayo nag-marketing, advertising or marketing dito sa DLSU is because one day, if you so decide to follow this career path, gusto nyo na magiging nasa higher level kayo, either marketing manager or chief marketing officer, yung pinakamataas sa marketing level, yung CMO kung tawagin nila, chief marketing officer, parang sa finance naman CFO, chief finance officer. Okay, mga nasa under na ng usually ng mga CEO, no? Okay. So I hope I have encouraged you enough to dissuade yourself from that connotation that finance is not relevant. Nothing can be further from the truth. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, for as long as you handle money, for as long as not even as an employee, as a worker, no? Even as a student, where you solely derive your finances from your parents, kailangan nyo rin i-manage yung finances nyo. Your parents, of course, expect you to be prudent with the use of the resources kasi pretty sure sasabihin nila sa inyo, hindi bottomless pit yung pinanggagalingan nila ng funds. Okay? Kahit nga if you're the son of sabi mo, of the son or daughter of Elon Musk or Bill Gates, hindi bottomless pit yung pinanggagalingan ng funds nila, no? So may may limitations, may constraints. Okay? So clear ba yon, class? Could I have a thumbs up from you? Na I hope I have convinced you enough na importante itong subject na to. Importante yung finance in whatever field of endeavor you will be in. Have you been persuaded to believe so, class? Paki-confirm naman kung yes, class. If you were convinced enough that indeed finance is very important. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for your feedback. Okay, so ang ma-encourage ko sa inyo, class, while we're discussing these fundamental things, no, do not shut yourself to the computational aspect. Kailangan natin yan. Okay? So this is a very practical subject. Titingnan natin yung time value of money. For example, sa time value of money, titingnan natin yung possibility na later on, Pwede ka mag-loan sa Pag-ibig, kunyari mag-establish ka na ng family mo, hihiwalay ka na sa parents mo, and you'll have your own family, you'll marry, and then kayo ng husband or wife nyo, mag-i-invest kayo sa bahay nyo, assuming na magagaling lang sa inyo, hindi ibibigay ng parents nyo. So pwede kayo mag-loan. So ang tanong, paano yung amortization table na yan? Okay? Bibigyan kayo ni Pag-ibig ng HDMF ng schedule ng payments. But you can do that. You can compute your own amortization schedule. Tapos pwede niyo ma-plan yung pagbayad ng amortization ng interest payments. So very practical yung subject na to. And thank you for your feedback, no? All right. Sige. So, let me move on to the next slide. Okay, kamusta naman class ang pace ko? Okay lang ba? Pwede bang pa-chat kung masyado ako mabilis or okay lang yung pace? Am I understood, class? Maliwanag ba yung ano? Thank you. Yeah, say good. Thank you so much, no? All right. So I hope I've whetted your appetite, no? I hope I have encouraged you to really put importance to this subject. Not really for getting the grades, but for considering that it is very practical and very important. Alam nyo, later on sa thesis nyo, sa marketing, gagawa kayo ng marketing plan or I don't know, feasibility plan yata, kakailangan nyo yung finance, no? You'll be needing finance. Okay. Now, I'm not sure why hindi US rule ang gagamitin natin dito. Sorry ha. Bakit kaya ang na-load ko dito hindi yung hindi yung adjusted. Okay, I'm sorry about that. But whatever I will upload sa Canvas will be the adjusted one. All right. So ano ba yung objectives natin? Let's start first with our objectives for this chapter 1. Okay. So kailangan maintindihan natin yung pag-compute ng simple interest. Okay? In reality class, pag nagtatransact ka ng business with banks or financial institutions, hindi masyado ginagamit yung simple interest. Ang ginagamit yung compound interest. Pero it's important that we understand this kasi may mga transactions pa rin na gumagamit ng interest, simple interest. Pero maano lang siya, hindi na siya masyadong marami. Kasi if you were the investor, hindi ka papayag na simple interest lang eh. You will not agree to that. Kasi dapat compound interest. Bakit? Anong difference ng compound interest at saka simple interest? Ang compound interest class, what happens is that as you earn your interest, that interest should be earning also. Yun ang compound interest. Itong simple interest, yung interest mo, hindi nag-earn. So, mukhang mali, di ba? Kasi nasa your funds is still with the institution or entity where you place your money. So habang nag-earn ng interest yan, habang nag-i-incur ng interest, you expect that amount, okay, yung accumulated amount mo, yung whatever you invested plus the interest, should also earn interest. Di ba? Yun ang compound interest vis-a-vis simple interest. Ang simple interest kasi, as I mentioned, yung funds mo lang ang nag-earn ng interest, hindi yung interest mismo. So dapat kasi, theoretically, whatever you invested plus whatever you earned, yung interest, dapat pareho yon mag-earn ng interest. Okay? So that's the difference between simple interest and compound interest. Yung compound interest, saka na natin pag-uusapan after simple interest. Okay. So dapat, at the end of this session, dapat matutunan natin kung paano ba mag-compute ng simple interest. Okay? Given this amount, given the interest rate, and given the time. So tatlo yan dapat eh. Tatlo dapat yung alam natin. Magkano yung amount, magkano yung interest rate, magkano yung time. Kasi ang interest rate is always a function of time. Ibig sabihin, kung in-invest mo lang siya sa 1 month, okay, versus 1 year, of course, mas mataas yung interest ng in-invest mo siya kung 1 year, assuming na pareho lang yung amount at saka pareho lang yung rate. Okay? So, yung interest is always a function of yung number of periods, yung number of days or number of years na linagak natin yung pera. No? So we're going to learn how to compute simple interest, and then we're going to learn how to compute for the maturity value. Ano yung maturity value? Ito yung interest, yung principal, yung in-invest natin, plus the interest, yung total na. No? So nag-invest tayo ng 1 million, it's supposed to earn 10%, at the end of the year, kunyari for 1 year, meron tayong, we will have at the end of the year, so back to my example, meron kang 1 million na in-invest, it will earn, let's say, 10%, and 1 year mo siyang i-invest. Okay, so these are the 3 parameters that you need. Okay, this is the principal, this is the interest, this is the time or the period. Okay, so at the end of the year, ano meron natin? Meron tayong interest payment, di ba? Meron tayong interest earned. Tapos, ando dun pa yung principal natin. So, pag in-add natin itong dalawang to, meron tayong maturity value. Okay? So, the maturity value is the amount of the principal plus yung interest na ina-earn natin. So, we have to know how to compute for the simple interest, ito, magkano to? And also the maturity value, ito, magkano to? Okay? So, depending on the maturity value, kung months or years yung investment natin. Okay? So, dalawang klaseng simple interest. Merong based on exact interest at saka ordinary interest. So, titingnan natin yung distinction ng dalawang yan. No? Exact interest versus ordinary interest. Okay. So, if you know this, if you know how to compute this, then madali na itong 1-2. Kasi parang ano lang yan, no? So, let me just show you the formula. Ang interest kasi, simple interest to, principal times rate times time. Okay? All right. Then, once you get the interest, makukuha natin maturity value. Maturity value is the principal plus the interest, no? Which is equal to principal plus, ano yung interest natin? Ito yung interest, yung P times R times the period times T. So, if we simplify this, we can now factor out yung P, di ba? So, this is equal to, sorry, I sulat ko dito factor out the P times 1. Di ba kung factor out natin yung P, and didistribute natin, magiging P to, P times 1 is P, plus your R times T. So if we distribute this is P. If we distribute this is PRT, which is this one, P plus PRT. All right? So this is the formula for maturity value. Itong MV. Yan ang maturity value. And this is what you call your simple interest factor. Okay, simple interest factor. Okay, but we'll learn that as we go along. Okay, so far, sorry inano ko lang, in-explain ko lang kung what will you expect in this discussion. Okay, clear ba yung concept ng ano? Paki-chat naman please ulit. Pardon me class as we go along, I will have to pause and ask you, no, if clear so far yung discussion natin. Thank you. Thank you so much. So clear ba yung concept ng simple interest, yung maturity value, and even the formula, no? Although syempre i-review natin yan. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, how about the others? Okay, I would appreciate na everybody is participating by keying in their comments. Okay, thank you. Okay, any questions so far? Any questions so far? No more? No questions yet? Thank you. All right. Okay, sige. May tanong lang ako How is my speed so far? Kasi okay lang ba or am I going too fast? I would appreciate you telling me kasi okay, good. Salamat. Kasi hindi sprint tong lesson natin We're here for this is a journey, no? So isang term tayong magkasama. So ayoko na nagmamadali ako kasi gusto kong ma-cover lahat ng lessons. Of course, ang target natin ma-cover lahat ng lessons, but not at the not sacrificing also clarity and also yung understanding nyo. Okay. All right. So let's go. Let's move on. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for your comments. Okay. So let's quickly define. So formally, ano ba yung interest? Okay. So una, define mo natin yung parties involved. Kasi in any transaction, merong dalawang parties yan. Sometimes two or more, no? Excuse me, class, sandali ha. Right? Sorry. So we have two parties, no? Two or more parties to a transaction. Kasi hindi naman, you cannot transact to yourself. You cannot lend to yourself. Diba? So at least two parties. So meron tayong lender or creditor, yung nagpapahiram ng pera. Okay? Meron tayong on the other end is the borrower. So ito yung sinasabi niyo sa akin kanina, the lender or the creditor can also be the investor. No? Siya yung nag-i-invest, tapos may investee, may taong kumukuha ng pera niya, no? Or it can be the borrower. So these persons can be entities, they can be companies, or they can be persons. So may lender, may nagpapahiram, okay, that makes the funds available to those who need it. So ito yung tinatawag natin na financial system. Okay? So this is the financial system. May lender, okay, merong mga tao na, okay, may kulang dito, no? Dapat may arrow din dito. Okay? So lender provides cash to the borrower and the borrower will provide interest. Ito yung interest payment, no? Hindi na pinakita dito yung ano. So this is what we call the circular flow of money. No? So this is what makes the financial system very fluid. Importante na itong financial system na to dapat regulated ng government yan. Kasi a working financial system is very important for the economy. Okay? Imagine pag nawalan ng trust yung tao, no? Yung tao sa financial system ng isang sovereign, ng isang nation. Ano mangyayari? Pag nawalan ng trust dito sa financial system na to, the lenders will no longer lend money to the borrower. Kasi at risk na yung pagpapahiram niya. Alam niya na baka hindi na mabayaran siya, no? He will just put his money elsewhere. Maybe establish his own business, etc. Hindi na siya magpapahiram. Okay? So yung borrower din, pag hindi niya matrust yung financial system, for example, very unstable. Dati yung interest rate, kunyari 3%. Tapos after 1 month, naging 10% na. Di ba? Ano mangyayari nito? Kung variable yung interest mo, humiram ka ang 3%, humiram ka ng 1 million. And then after 1 month, naging 10% na yung interest rate. And ang laki na ng cost of money sa'yo, di ba? Instead of paying yung 3%, 30,000 lang yan eh. For the whole term. Ng 1 million, I'm referring to 1 million. Ang 3% niyan is 30,000. Eh paano kung naging 10% na? So naging 10,000 na yan, right? And we're only talking of 1 million. What if this is hundreds of millions or in billions? Okay, so iba na yon. So as I said, this is very important. Importante, ang role ng government is to make sure that this is stable. Yung cycle, yung borrowing cycle, yung circular flow of funds. Okay, ito na ngayon yung financial system. Ito na yung role ng finance sa isang business, sa isang gobyerno, sa isang nation. So very important yung role ng finance. So yun yung inaaral ng finance, no? Okay, so I mentioned to you the borrower and the interest is that certain, take note, certain sum of money that the lender charges the borrower for the use of the funds. I'm sure alam niyo yan, no? I'm sure at this stage in your life, I'm sure alam nyo, for example, if I put the money in the bank, I expect something in return. If I lend money, I expect something in return. Yung return na yon, yung certain sum of money na yun that we charge the one who's using our funds is called your interest. Okay? So this is the formal definition of interest. Okay, ito yung circular flow. Okay, this is the ito yung financial system. Of course, this can be expanded, no? So in a well-performed, how do I call it? Operating society, merong mga lenders. There are those who have excess cash. Okay? Meron may mga excess cash, meron mga nangangailangan ng needs cash. Okay? So for example, si borrower, meron siyang business proposition. Okay? Meron siyang gustong i-invest, maybe establish a company or invest in machinery, tapos hindi sufficient yung cash niya. Ano sasabihin niya? Saan siya kukuha? Ay, wala akong cash eh. Pag ganun yung society, pag ganun yung bansa, wala mangyayari, hindi masusper yung economic development. Okay? If you have a well-performing financial system, alam ni borrower na may pagkukunan siya ng pera. Okay? Merong mga providers ng funds, yung mga lenders. So pwede siyang kumuha doon. Siyempre, babayaran niya interest and at the later period, babayaran din niya yung principal. Okay? So a well-performing society, a well-performing country will have a stable financial system. Okay, so recently, di ba, if you're following the news, may mga countries, si Lebanon, si Syria, si Zimbabwe, I'm not sure, wala pa yata kayo nun. There was a time when grabe yung, if I'm not mistaken, 10,000% yata yung inflation rate ng Zimbabwe. So that, grabe yung currency nila. In order to buy one loaf of bread, tinapay, no? Bread, kailangan mo ng isang truck ng pera. Okay? Sorry sa drawing ko, no? Bibili ka ng tinapay, okay? One loaf of bread, you need one truckload of cash. Kasi ganun ka devalued na yung pera, no? So I'm talking about practical things. I'm talking about the role of finance, no, sa nation building. So very important ang finance sa economy ng isang bansa. So kaya nga yung mga economic managers natin, yung galing sa BSP, galing sa Department of Finance, galing sa NEDA, they play a very, very important role. Ito yung mga economic managers natin. Kasi pag bumagsak yung natin, yung currency for example natin, imagine kung yung maging exchange rate, $1 is equal to 200 pesos. Imagine that, no? Patay, kawawa yung importers. Kawawa yung mga companies natin that need raw materials that's imported from abroad. Diba? Let's face it, hindi naman tayo talaga manufacturing country. So kailangan natin ng raw material inputs coming from Europe, from US, from Asia. And imagine if the exchange rate is $1. Imagine, $1 is equal to 200 pesos. Okay, kawawa yung mga importers natin. Maraming mababankrupt dyan. Okay? If they need some raw material inputs coming from different countries and they have to pay in dollars, di ba? Kawawa. Ang dito, ang medyo swerte yung exporters naman, no? Yung exporters, masaya sila dyan. Pero kung importer ka, exporter, nagbabalance out ka lang. Nagbabalance out ka lang kasi kailangan mo rin ng raw material inputs, di ba? To process your goods and then export. Pero ang heavily affected dyan will be exporters. Kasi, I said importers pala. Okay, so let's continue. So I hope clear yan yung concept ng interest, no? All right. Ano yung maturity? So let's define this. Maturity, ito yung date. Okay? Date on which the life of the transaction ends. All right. So humiram tayo January 1, payable December 31. Let's say January 1, 2023, We loaned an amount payable siya December 31, 2023. So, ang tawag dito sa December 31 na to, that's the maturity date. Okay? Maturity date yan. So, this is commonly used for deposits. Okay? There are some transactions here, class, na that will require a deeper understanding of finance, katulad ng mga spot rates, no? Forward transactions. I will not discuss that now kasi medyo malalim na mga financial terms. Kunyari, ano yung spot rate? Okay, ano yung future rate? Ano yung spot market? Ano yung futures market? Okay, basta sinabing spot, yung price now. Okay, kanya si Meralco, if you sometimes watch the news, sometimes sinasabi ni Meralco na magtataas siya ng rate, no? Kasi ang value ng energy sa spot market is very high. Pag sinabing spot market, yan ang value ngayon. If I'm going to buy energy now, the value now is your spot market. On the other hand, yung futures market is the value of that commodity or that item or that asset at a future point in time. Kaya nga future versus spot. So, kunyari si Meralco, siyempre ipaplano niya yung financial managers yan, ipaplano nila yung pag-buy ng oil or energy. Okay? Finance requires that the financial managers, should be able to manage their finances well by planning their purchases of energy. So usually, bumibili sila sa futures market. Kasi yung futures market, usually, mas mababa yung price. So kunyari, ako si Meralco, ako yung financial manager. I will contract with the company to buy, let's say, kunyari, 10 million barrels of oil on December 31. Delivered on December 31. Example lang to, ha? Okay, saan ako bibili nito? Pakisagot nga, class. Where will I buy this 10 million barrels of oil? Will I buy this in the spot market or in the futures market? Kindly chat, please. Saan ko bibilihin yan, class? 10 million barrels of oil. Spot market or futures market? Sige nga, paki-guess, class. Okay. Thank you, John. Yeah. Seth, thank you. Yung iba, Sophia, thank you. All right, Terence, present spot. Okay. All right, so the answer is futures market. Bakit? Kasi ang delivery pa sa December 31. Diba? So you're managing your resources, kailangan natin. So i-forecast na ng company. So ang delivery December 31, so delivery in the future, so futures market 'yan. Pag ang delivery in a few days time, spot market 'yon. And usually yung spot market mas mahal siya kaysa sa futures market. Okay? All right. Well, thank you for your answers. Thank you, Terence, for your answer. Okay. All right. So ito sinasabi, no, ang maturity, ang maturity nito December 31. Interest rate, etc. So meron pa dito mga binabanggit, no? Swaps, options. Ito, we will not discuss this, but I'll just give examples of this in the future. These are what we call financial instruments, no? Pag finance student ka, so dapat alam mo 'tong mga 'to, no? And yung nature ng mga yan, yung mga inaaral talaga sa finance. Kasi sa finance, ang role ng finance is to manage the resources of the organization. So kunyari may mga asset tayong kailangan ma-acquire yung mga assets na yon at the least cost for the company. So should you buy that from the spot market? Pag binili mo yan sa spot market, no? Medyo questionable din yan kasi ibig sabihin hindi mo plinano yung purchase. Bakit mo bibilhin ngayon? Hindi mo ba plinano yan in the past, di ba? Kunyari, 6 months ago, dapat nagplano ka na bibili na tayo sa futures market, no? Ng gantong commodity o ng gantong asset para mas mura. So a company that buys in the spot market, okay, may questionable practice yan. Okay, unless talaga may emergency. May emergency, kunyari may glut o may kunyari nagkaroon ng mga problema sa sa inventory ng mga goods na 'yon, no? All right. So at least ang in-explain lang natin diyan yung maturity, no? All right, so let's go here. Okay, ang maturity value, as I mentioned to you a while ago, the maturity value will be equal to the amount that you invested plus interest. It's just the sum. Okay? Sum lang yon. So, ang principal will not change kasi whatever you invested, if it's 1 million, 1 million yan kahit ngayon or in the future, 1 million pa rin yan. Ang magbabago yung interest. So, depende dun sa pag-compute ng interest. Okay? So, this will now be, kung compound interest, iba yung pag-compute ng interest compared to simple interest. Okay? So, we have what we call simple interest and compound interest. No? So magkaiba pa tong simple interest, may dalawang klase siya. Okay? Meron tayong tinatawag na, sa simple, merong exact, merong exact, at saka may ordinary. Okay, dito din may iba, no? Meron ditong due, hindi, sorry, sa annuity pa rin iniisip ko. Okay, so, alright. So, questions so far, class? Ang bilis ng oras, ah. Any questions? Clear ba so far, class? Okay, good. Thank you for your feedback. How about the others? I would appreciate you giving your feedback. Okay, thank you. Right, good. Salamat, class. Salamat sa participation. Importante sa akin yan, no? Kasi ayoko yung minamadali ko tapos salita akong salita dito tapos parang Greek na pala sa inyo, no? Sounds Greek already to you. Ang objective natin dito, understanding, no? Understanding, comprehension nyo. So if I need to repeat a particular discussion, then I will, class. I will. Okay, good. So dito may question si, thank you so much, John. Paki-share yung question mo to everybody, John, please. Discuss natin yung question mo. So I really appreciate this question. Sige. John, can you, John pala, John, Mr. C, can you share your question to everyone? Kasi, okay. So ito yung question ni John, no? If you buy sa futures market and the suppliers cost goes up over time, do they lose money? Yeah, very good question. Okay, may example ako, ano? Okay, kunyari, okay, yung same company kanina, a company uses oil as their raw material. Okay? So, today is September. Sabihin natin September 1, no? Okay, tapos may inventory sila ng oil. Pag bibili sila ng oil sa spot market, yung delivery ngayon din or a few days from now. Okay? Now, bibili sila sa spot market kasi mauubusan na sila. And what could be the why was that so? Either merong extraordinary na use ng inventory na kailangan nilang gamitin kaya naubos, or maybe because of poor planning. So dapat siguro nung March pa lang nagano na sila, nagplano na sila, nabibili na sila sa futures market ng, let's say kunyari 10 million barrels of oil, no? Dami niyan, 10 million barrels of oil. Okay? So ngayon, napapabili sila sa spot market kasi hindi sila nag-planning, no? Nung March, sabihin natin nung March 1, hindi sila bumili sa futures market for delivery on September 1. September 1 na ngayon. Kulang na inventory nila ng ng oil. Okay? So, usually pag spot market mas mahal. Okay? So let's suppose kunyari nung March 1, ang futures market, let's say, ang futures market $90 per barrel. Ngayon sa spot market, magkano na? $100 na per barrel. Okay, tingnan yung difference yan. Yung $10 per barrel, multiply mo ng 10 million barrels, that's $100 million. Diba? 100, tumataginting na 100 million yan. Okay? So I think if you're the finance manager, you should already tender your resignation. Kasi mako-question ka niyan eh. Why are you putting the company in such a spot where we're losing money, di ba? We lost money here. Kasi hindi plinano, di ba? Hindi plinano. Okay lang sana kung, okay, nung March 1, nag-transact na tayo ng futures market, okay? 90 million, $90 per barrel. Fast forward September 1, naging 100, no? $100 per barrel. So what does that mean? Na-save mo yung company ng $10 per barrel. So siguro dapat may bonus ka or promoted ka. Kasi good planning 'yan eh. 'Di ba? Pero pwede rin namang it can go either way kasi. Fast forward, September 1, yung pala naging $80 yung per barrel yung cost ng oil. 'Di ba? So binili mo at 90, nung September 1 naging 80 na lang. Okay, pero hindi mo talaga kasi hindi mo mape-predict ng tama, no? Parang sugal 'yan. Okay, nag-invest ka ng $90 per barrel, nung dumating September 1, ay ang spot market na $80 na lang. So ano sasabihin mo? Sayang, sana nag-spot market pa lang pala tayo, no? Well, on hindsight na 'yun eh, 'di ba? So the company will not so much fault you for that kasi tumaya ka na ang oil naman usually pataas yung price niyan, no? If you take a look at the trend of oil prices, tumataas talaga yan. So pag medyo bumaba, nung dumating yung date ng maturity ng futures mo, ng futures contract, well, ganun talaga, no? As compared to hindi ka nagplano, hindi ka nag-futures. So as to the question of John, totoo yun, no? So the company loses in value if the company does not plan and manage their inventory and plan for the future. Okay? Kasi kung yung raw material yun, lagi nyo lang ginagamit, may mga market naman na mapagbibilhan mo. Ang tawag sa market na yon, futures market. Meron din naman market na mabibili mo yung item now, ang tawag doon, spot market. Okay, so companies as part of their managing their assets, time na pala, no? Okay, so it's almost time. Ang tawag nga pala dito, class, hedging. Hedging. Sa finance, you call it hedging. Hine-hedge nyo. Ang hedge kasi parang bakod yan, di ba? So, ang picture nito parang yung binabakuran nyo yung asset nyo, yung resources nyo. Pinoprotektahan nyo, no? You're mitigating against risk, especially of assets that are really fluctuate in prices. Okay? So, well, interesting ang finance, di ba? So, kaya nga sabi ko sa inyo, yung subject natin, this is also very interesting. Although hindi naman natin aaralin yung pag-compute ng mga futures sa mga spot kasi that's reserved for finance students, no? Yung pag-compute ng mga yan. Tsaka pag-manage ng finance resources. Alright, meron pa pala mali yung oras yung tinitingnan ko. So let's continue, class. I have some more minutes. Okay, did that answer your question, John? Nasagot ba yung question mo? I hope nasagot siya. Okay. Oh, thank you, John, for that question. I appreciate the questions. Keep your questions coming, class. No? Maganda yan. Tapos, pag nagtatanong kayo, do not hesitate to share it to everybody. Kasi I'm sure everybody will, no question here will be treated as a quote-unquote stupid question. Lahat ng questions dito valid, lahat ng questions dito i-entertain, lahat ng questions dito, of course, dapat related sa topic. Wala yung mga bigla namang walang unrelated, no? And I appreciate your questions because they're very relevant. Okay, so let's now move on. Okay, meron pa tayong a few more minutes. Okay, wait. Balik ako. Ay. All right. So, as to this question, I think we'll be able to answer just a few slides na lang kasi magta-time na. Why do you study simple interest? Bakit natin kailangan aralin tong simple interest? Well, so I'd like to share this some answers, no? Importante yung simple interest kasi this is one of the fundamental concepts for mastering your finances. Okay, sabi natin importante yung concept ng interest. So, if it's important, then you should know how to compute interest. Whether it's simple interest or compound interest. Diba? So, dalawang interest ang titingnan natin. Simple interest, compound interest. Both simple interest and compound interest, although mas ginagamit yung compound interest sa real world, may gumagamit pa rin ng simple interest. Okay, so dapat alam din natin yan. So, if you want to really manage your finances, kailangan alam mo, no? Yung understanding at saka yung computation ng simple interest. Okay, so when you understand your finances, di ba empowered ka? Di ba? To make better financial decisions that save you money. Okay, katulad ng example natin kanina, yung sa, although corporate setting yun. Di ba? Imagine kung CFO ka ng company na yun, tapos because you did not plan, you did not compute interest, you did not, for example, manage or predict, at least predict, yung mga resources, yung resource needs ng company, hindi ka, for example, nag-hedge, what will happen? You will lose value for the company because you did not plan. Okay, so understanding interest will help you make sound decisions, no? So that you're able to protect your assets. Sabi ko nga kanina, hedging. And why is that important? Kasi nga, sabi natin, ang assets, ang resources, hindi siya bottomless pit, no? You do not draw it out from a bottomless well na walang katapusan. No? There's no such thing as infinite resources. Lahat yan may hangganan. So there's a need, of course, to manage your resources. Even if later on sa marketing, pag gagawa ka ng decision, let's say promotional activities, tapos magko-compute ka ng budget niyan. So pag-uusapan yan with finance and with the CFO, can the company afford this? Kasama yung planning yan sa finance. So hindi natin pwedeng i-separate yung marketing at saka finance. Lalo na pag budgetary considerations, papasok yung financial considerations yan. Kasi a company does not have infinite resources. Okay, should we invest here? Should we come up with a new product, yung 4Ps sa marketing, di ba? Product, price, place, promotion. So dyan, lahat ng decision yan, lahat ng decision points na yan, papasok ang finance. New product, okay. Ano gagawin natin sa new product? Magandang titinan yung market. Okay ba sa market to? Tapos magko-compute kayo niyan. Magkano yung expected sales? Magkano yung cost? Di ba finance din yun, di ba? So, laging nakakasal, no? Kasal ang marketing sa finance. Okay? So, as I said, I'm dissuading you for the concept that finance is not important. Lahat ng aspects ng isang company, whether it's HR or operations or accounting or marketing, lahat yan kailangan ng finance. Without the round, you cannot go around when you talk of money conception, no? Okay, and also, of course, as an introduction to the concept of interest in general. Okay, all right, so I have at least 2 more minutes. So siguro 1 or 2 slides lang. Okay, simple interest formula natin. Sabi ko kanina, tatlong measures ang kailangan, tatlong metrics. Number 1 is rate, no? Yung rate, ito yung i-charge ng lender, yung kay borrower, no? Okay? Ang tawag yan, rate, no? And usually it's stated as a percent. Okay, and it can be expressed as percent or it can be expressed in decimals. And pag binigyan ka ng rate, usually yan per annum. So pag makita mong kunyari 3%, alam mo na kagad na per annum yan. Kahit wala nakalagay. Kasi pag wala nakalagay yan, ang assumption lagi per annum yan. Okay, so hindi mo na kailangan na tanungin, 3%, ano to, per month, per year, per ano? Do not ask, no? Okay? Student kayo ng finance, pag sinabing 3%, ang assumption kagad yan, per annum yan. Okay? You do not need to ask, is this per month or per week? Hindi. Pag sinabing percent, laging yan ang practice quoted as per annum. All right, time. And time is always, oftentimes or usually stated in years. So sinasabi period is 3. Usually 3 years yan. Unless na sinabing in months, no? Or in weeks. Okay? So importante yung time kasi yan ang magiging basis ng formula ng PRT, di ba ito? Okay, so if you notice, the longer the time, the greater will be the interest. Siyempre, multiplicative to, di ba? If times 10 as compared to times 3, mas malaki yung times 10. Okay? So yun ang ibig sabihin ng time. And of course, the principal. The amount of money to be lent or to be invested. All right? So the formula for simple interest is principal times rate times time. So napakasimple lang naman, class, ng formula, no? Okay? So I'll just give one example and then we'll end in this. So for example, this person borrowed 40,000 for office furniture. The loan was 6 months at an annual interest rate of 4%. What is the interest and the maturity value? Okay? So very simple. Alamin natin kung ano yung P. P is the principal 40,000, di ba? What's the rate? 4% or 0.04? Yun. What's the time? This is in year natin sasabihin, ano? Ang time is 6 months, convert it into years. So 6 months divided by 12 months, that's 0.5 years. As we said, bakit yung time dapat in years? Kasi yung rate in years. Okay, ganun kasimple. So dapat ang time in years kasi ang rate in years. Pwede bang ang time in months? Yes. Kapag ang rate mo in months din. So dapat pareho class yung time frame, yung T at saka yung R. If you're given monthly rate, then dapat months yung gagamitin mo. Pag hindi sinabi kung monthly or yearly, yearly lagi yan. No? Okay, I hope that's clear, class. No? And just compute for the interest, it's P times R times T. So simple ano lang, simple multiplication. And you have the interest is equal to 800 dito. And the maturity value is simply, you just add yung principal plus yung principal plus the interest. Okay, I'll just end in this, just give me a few seconds, class. So, sabi ko rin kanina that nawala yung ano ko. Okay, ba't nawala yung... Okay. Sorry. Nawala yung pen ko, no? Okay, anyway, so another way to compute this is, sabi natin market value is equal to P times 1 plus RT. Okay, let me go back to the formula I gave a while ago. Okay, pasensya na class, ha? Ay, naghang na. Sorry, naghang na yung ano ko, no? Okay, naghang na. Okay, so let me just... Okay, so I'll end here, class. Naghang na tong ano ko, no? Tong... Sorry, naghang na yung ano ko, yung slide ko. All right, so I'll be seeing you next meeting. Okay, I'll post these slides that we had. Okay, so thank you so much, class. I hope you enjoyed our session for today. I'll see you on Wednesday. Thank you and have a blessed weekend ahead. Thank you, class.
Po, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, salamat, salamat. Thank you for the heart, ha? Salamat. I hope you learned something today. Okay, thank you.